Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've talked about linguistics directly, so I thought I'd do another video diving into language formation. The first linguistics video I talked about the Proto-Indo-European language family and all the different languages that are related, and so this video I'm going to talk about how those languages change over time. You've probably noticed in my word webs that there's particular shapes around each language. I'm going to explain that. A box is around a living language. A circle is around a dead language that's been documented, like Latin or Old French. And a rounded box is around a reconstruction. Now, a reconstruction is a language that nobody's heard, nobody speaks, it hasn't been written, but we can assume that it existed by looking at the connections between words in modern languages. So that's a bit of an abstract idea, so I'm going to look at one particular pattern and break it down. And this pattern is called Grimm's Law. Grimm's Law is from Jacob Grimm, who is of the Brothers Grimm. Not only did he write fairy tales, most of his interests were just in language and how the Germanic languages connect to the classical languages like Latin and Greek. And around the time that he lived, Proto-Indo-European had just become a thing in the 18-teens and 1820s. So he decided he was going to look at words in the various Indo-European languages, including the ancient ones like Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit, and find connections and patterns between them. And what he found was there were consistent, repeated sound shifts between words that mean the same thing in Germanic versus other Indo-European languages. To illustrate that for you, I'm going to show you English words that exemplify shifts in accordance with Grimm's Law. Okay? So, first let's ask a question. Why do dentists work on teeth? If you speak French, it's a pretty easy answer. The word for teeth is dent. It's spelled like dent. So that shows two of Grimm's shifts. D's become T's, and T's become TH sounds. That's pretty cool. That's pretty easy. Let's move forward. Why does a podiatrist work with feet? Well, we already know that D's become T's, but now we can see that P's become F's. Alright? Also, why do cardiologists work on hearts? Well, the Latin word for heart was corda. We can already see the D's become T's again, and C's, or rather K sounds, became H sounds in Germanic languages. We can see that in a couple other examples, such as a cent being 1/100th of a dollar. We say cent with a S sound, but in Latin, the C's always made a K sound. So they would have said centum for 100, whereas we say 100. Those are all easy examples, easy to see. I'm going to give you guys the last one. There's a B to a P shift in Germanic languages, and there are two body parts that show this shift. The first one to comment correctly, two body parts that show a B to a P shift, I'll shout you out and I'll talk about any word that you tell me to. Any word that you tell me to. And if none of you get it, you'll never know. There are other shifts in Grimm's Law, such as a G sound to a K sound, or an aspirated BH, like a B, I don't even know how to make it, B sound to a regular B sound. But the problem with that is I'm using French as like a control group and showing words in French and Latin that where it didn't shift away from the Proto-Indo-European, but it's not a perfect control group, right? So, because at the same time, it was also shifting away from Proto-Indo-European. So, if you want to find an example of an aspirated B becoming a B, you kind of have to go to Hindi. The word for brother in Proto-Indo-European is bretter. We can see how that becomes brother in Germanic. But in Latin, they had an aspirated B to an F shift. So they say frater, or fraternity is a word that we get from that. If you want to find a modern aspirated B, look at Hindi. The word for brother is brater. It's basically the exact same as the Proto-Indo-European. They've preserved that word and its sounds successfully. Not intentionally, but successfully for thousands of years. And I think that's pretty cool. There are other shifts as well, not just Grimm's Law. Grimm's Law is an easy example because we already speak a Germanic language that's been influenced by non-Germanic languages. But we can find other shifts within the Germanic languages themselves. For example, the Nordic languages had a shift away from other Germanic languages, where the SH sound became an SK sound. To say fish in Norse, you say fisk, like lutefisk. That stuff's nasty. There's another shift that is easy to see. It's in Spanish, away from the other Romance languages, where an F becomes a silent H. For example, the word for oven in French is four, and the word for oven in Italian is forno, but the word for oven in Spanish is orno. And this actually helped me out in my real life. You see, I was working at Krispy Kreme Donuts, and there was a man who was from Guatemala, and he didn't speak any English. Well, he spoke a little English, but not very much. And I spoke a little Spanish, but not very much. And I wanted to ask him to get me some more flour. So I knew the French word for flour was farine, so I said, necesito más harina, por favor. And he got me some flour. So I guessed right. And that was cool. He was an interesting guy. We had full conversations that were mostly just gestures. He was funny. Anyway, sound shifts are one of the building blocks for the concept of linguistics, right? And this time I just covered consonant shifts. There are also vowel shifts. Vowel shifts are a lot more common and easier to come across than consonant shifts. So I'm going to talk about dialects and vowel shifts in the next linguistics video because those two things are very interconnected. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And not the next video, but the next video will be about names. So, if you want, comment your first name or your last name or whatever, or the name of your dog, or the name of your cat, the name of your Burmese python in the comments below, and I will talk about the origin of that name and where it came from and all that jazz. Thank you for watching. Once again, have a wonderful day.